Hey guys, it's Bowser here with Penny Stock Data Science. Before we begin, just please make sure you hit that subscribe button. You guys have been doing a great job with that. More subscribers we get, we can put out better content. So today we're going to be talking about MKGP. We actually had someone reply to us on Twitter, Brown Cow, basically saying that they wanted to ask us about the stock. They bought, I guess, at the top, and now it's going down in price. Want to know what's going on. They want to understand, why price is going down. So first things first, let's take a look at the chart. So I took a look earlier, and I'm gonna assume that Brown Cow you bought somewhere around here in the November time frame where this went to about 20 something cents. So I'm gonna assume that you bought around here. Now you're wondering why is it back down to 5 cents? So we take a look at the chart here. We can see that we'll go out to the 5-year time frame. This stock, I think it used to be like pretty cheap, maybe like sub penny, something like that. And since 2019 has really ramped up in this like big bull period that we had for OTCs, and steadily has kind of gone down. But we're going to focus on this time frame here, where I believe you have bought, where this was trading, has been in a downtrend, trading around like 2 cents, made this big move to 20 cents. So you want to know what's going on. So first thing, now that we looked at the chart, we can take a look at the actual security. So 49 million unrestricted shares, 5 cents. And when we look at the news for this ticker, they have they've been putting out some steady news, but this move, it started on November 22nd. And when we go look at the news, we can see starting around 21st, 22nd, we have news coming out. Technical advisory board, they're adding to their board. They're adding people to their board. We don't need to get into all the details here about who they are. Point is, what we're seeing here is story building. They signed this letter of intent here. I don't know if this is the exact same asset, whatever, but the key thing here is that we see a bunch of news coming out within a certain time frame, building on a story. So today we're talking about this particular stock, but it's not just about this stock. It's a really good opportunity to talk about how does storytelling work in OTC? How do you know whether you want to day trade something, you want to hold something long term? How are you going to trade news on a stock? And that also has to do with market conditions. Right now we're not in a good bull market for OTC. We're not seeing extended moves from news very often. Sometimes, yes, but it's not the norm. Typically, we're just seeing like news come out, something makes a good one-day move. It's not, we're not seeing one press release cause, a 3-day move, 10,000%. That's just not really happening right now. Or if it is, it's just not, it's not happening over and over and over. So for this particular setup, they, from November to December, putting out a lot of news, getting a lot of interest, and that's what we saw here in the chart. News on the 21st, news on the 22nd. Boom, 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 boom. Well, actually, it wasn't the 22nd. This started like the 18th, or but it's that time frame. So we go back here, we see okay. Let's see, press release on the 21st, on the 22nd. That is right here. So somebody, I don't know if they had news on the 18th or the 17th, but that's also what we would see. Someone's buying in anticipation of that. Maybe someone knows something, and well, they had their quarterly report on the 15th. So all this stuff, it's not even super relevant because we see preloading in OTC stocks all the time, where we see okay, volume comes into a name, news comes out after, and then it sells off. That's kind of just how it works in OTC. Volume is the biggest thing. Volume before price. A lot of times, volume before news. But the key here is that you bought at top, and then it went down. So the key thing here is that you need to understand how storytelling works in OTC. I think a good example or a good analogy maybe would be that okay, there's a new TV show. You watch the first episode, really, really, really good. But then the second episode, nothing happens. The characters just sit there. They don't do anything. You watch for half an hour, nothing happens. Maybe there's just a blank screen. And then the next episode, same thing and the same thing. So the question is, how many times are you going to watch the show before you just give up and go onto a different show? And that's kind of the same thing we see in OTC, where okay, news, 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 momentum, momentum, momentum. But then once it stops, like, what's going to happen? Nothing. So once they stop putting out news and the story, you know, kind of ends, you're going to see people lose interest, people sell, maybe they're debt holders selling paper. But the point is, like, the story's over. So you have to be able to judge whether the story's going to continue or just day trade it or short-term trade it, but you can't just buy something and think, hey, I think this is going to go up forever, because it's not going to go up forever. Or maybe you think it's going to keep going up, but the question is how long. And you don't want to get stuck, like in this situation, where now the story's over and it's just going down. So, it's something to keep in mind. But, this is a really good, really, really, really good example of just how to think of it as a story, how to think of it as, okay, I'm buying, at any point here, but who's going to buy it from me when I want to sell it? That's a really good thing, because I think a lot of people forget, when you sell it, because you think maybe it's topped out, or maybe, you made enough money on it, whatever. Someone has to buy it from you when you sell it. You're not just selling it to no one. Someone has to buy it from you. So that's also something to keep in mind. And another thing you want to watch out for is, go on Twitter. So I'm just filtering for the top tweets for MKGP. And if we go down, we start seeing, okay, like, well-known, OTC people on Twitter, like tweeting out, when you see stuff like this, it could be anyone. It's something to keep in mind. If someone's tweeting about it, they probably own it. They probably want to sell it at some point. Another thing to keep in mind was, I believe this particular account, Laid Back, was on MKGP, and I'm not sure if you are aware, but they got arrested as part of the Atlas bust. So, anytime you see, anyone on any stock, when they get in trouble, like, the stock's gonna go down. That's just how it works. We see it all the time with SEC press releases where they bust an attorney, they bust, like, a CEO or something like that. Like, if they bust an attorney, any ticker that attorney is associated with is, like, it's not going to go up. So, keep that in mind here. Like, who is tweeting out plays? It's really important to keep in mind, and, keep in the back of your mind whether you want to be in a play like that if someone's, tweeting about it. So, I mean, that's kind of why this one is going down. At least I think so. But the biggest thing here is just that from what I can see, the story's over. They haven't put out a news press release since December 6th. Like, they built up a good story. They get people interested. People buy. It goes up, and then, once it's over, that's it. So, if I don't know, I'm assuming this is where you bought somewhere around here, but this isn't where you want to buy. If you see the story starting out, or you have the stock on radar for a play or something, like, if you don't get it early, you don't want to get it at all, or you want to day trade it. Like, you can't buy up here and be like, oh, well, I'm going to hold long term, because look how much it's already run up from 3 cents. Like, anyone who's bought in this area is looking to sell around here. So these are all things to keep in mind, and we'll be putting out more videos just about the kind of how the story works with OTC, because that's really, really something big here. You don't see it as much in small caps or anything bigger than that, but with OTC, it's really important, because that's how people get interested. People aren't going reading financial reports saying, oh yeah, this OTC stock makes a ton of money, because that doesn't happen, or if it does, it's not common. It's all about story building. It's all about investor relations, putting together a story that people like, and building and building and building and building. Like, press release on a Monday, build momentum. Press release on a Wednesday, build momentum, and just continuing, continuing, and continuing. And that's what it's really about. So I hope that this video has been helpful to you, Brown Cow. If there is someone else you want us to talk about, just tweet at us and we'll do our best. Uh, I know we didn't get into extreme detail on MKGP, but what we did go into was just kind of you know, the simple basics of why something's going to go up, why something's going to go down, and the different pieces of that. So, please, let us know if you like it. If you want us to do something else, check out our other videos, and we're happy to get into any subject that you want.